He was actually at the headquarters on Black Rock Turnpike. He showed up during our kickoff when Van Diesel was running, and he was making phone calls. And I remember kind of looking over him because he had 2 phones attached to his ears making phone calls. And I'm like, who is this maniac making phone calls with 2 phones on each of his ears? So I'm running for re-election last year, and he shows up and says, what can I do to help? You love everybody who shows up and says, what can I do to help, right?
We don't need the room.
So this young man isn't just saying, what can I do to help? He shows up every weekend to help. And I mean every weekend, not some weekends, not once in a while. Every weekend he's there at headquarters to walk Saturday and Sunday. And by the way, he's a good-looking young man, so I'm actually quite impressed. And he shows up at the phone banks, and he's helping with everything and anything you can ask. So what do you think about that, right? So you're working in campaigns, and let's face it, as legislators, as local representatives, let's face it, this is not a job that's making you a whole lot of money, but you're working really, really hard. And when you have people there to help you, it really makes a huge difference, right? So anybody who's ever run for office knows that makes a huge difference. When I don't want to get up on Saturday morning and walk in 98-degree heat in August, but Ray is texting me at 8:30 going, what time are you walking Saturday? And I'm like, 10 o'clock, Ray. But you know what? It's nice, right? It makes a difference to have a buddy, to have someone who's enthusiastic. It makes a difference for all of us. Because Ray has the principles of the Republican Party. He cares enough about our principles to give up his weekends, to come down to the phone banks and make calls. And you know what? That makes a real difference. Because he not just helped me, he helped Laura Devlin. He helped Tony Wong. And we won. That makes a difference. Especially now what's going on in our state. Every win makes a difference. So I wrote down a couple of little things, and I have to tell you, they really embody what I think about when I was...
Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I wouldn't have chosen anybody else to make that introduction. I don't think anybody else would have said yes. I'd like to start by saying it's an absolute honor to be the recipient of the Paul Timniak Young Republican Award in the very same year that Chris Timniak is going to be the next first selectman of Fairfield. It wasn't long ago that the young senator out of Illinois won himself a second election and took our White House. I realized something. I realized there was a silent minority voting bloc that was as good as absent in the electoral process. Absent was the young Republican, who sat far too complacent and whose activism paled in comparison to its Democratic peer. When I was in school, when I was a bit younger, believe me, I made no friends and I won no popularity contests with the politics professors at Fairfield University. And surprisingly enough, reluctantly, they allowed me to graduate. But through it all, I always knew the Republican Party sang the better song. It had the better lyrics, but at times it lacked the chorus. I knew the Republican Party wasn't a party about the diffusion of responsibility. It was about accepting it, owning it, and making that responsibility an opportunity. It's no secret that voters under the age of 35 have an overwhelming propensity to vote Democrat. And it's probably for that very same reason that I realized why my father's favorite quote is, "What a shame that youth is wasted on the young." When I ask my friends, why do you vote Democrat? Why did you vote for Obama? I almost never get a definitive answer. So over the years, I took it upon myself to form my own hypothesis. And it goes something like this. Number one, they vote